Hey guys, this is Jared King. I actually plan to talk about something completely different today. However, because of what's going on online and because of the trending topic on Twitter, everybody's talking about Hermione. And if you don't know, she is the character from J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. There's a little bit of a controversy that's stirred up because there is a new play that's being produced and they cast a black actor as Hermione. Some people are upset about that because they've grown to love this character for years now, and they had a set idea of what she looked like. And what further cemented this was her casting in the movies. But on the other side of the coin, people are saying that she's never really described as a white character. And even J.K. Rowling has stepped in and said that as well. So just to read you her tweet, she says, as far as the canon of the book, she's described as having brown eyes, frizzy hair, and very clever. White skin was never specified. Rowling loves black Hermione. So that was her statement. And I think that this really brings up the issue of what we all see as a default look for a character. When an author leaves a character's look as ambiguous, that kind of leaves it up to the reader to fill in the blanks. Now, I know that as a reader, I've kind of been conditioned to fill in every ambiguous character as a white character. And I think the same goes for a lot of people, I think regardless of race. I think that that's just what we've been conditioned to think. Now, that's not really good, but, at the same time, it's like, if I were to decide to read Hermione as a black character in the first book, there's no telling that description of her will carry me through the next 6 or so books, and I think that that's the danger that some of us who want to kind of inject diversity into these ambiguous characters, as readers, that's the risk that we run. And so it's just a lot easier to say, okay, this character's white, because we know that that's not going to be, refuted later on in the book or later on in the series. But so I think that, authors have to be careful when they do an ambiguous character like that. But what this really brought to mind was the question of whether it was up to authors to, spell out each character's traits to a T, or whether it was up to readers and people who do adaptations of books to take some more liberties with these characters in order to inject some more diversity. I think there has to be a balance. Like I said, authors need to stick to, once they do an ambiguous character, they need to stick with that ambiguous description of the character throughout the series or throughout the book, because I've had some instances where I was just like, okay, so let me think of this character as black, and then later on there's some description or something that kind of throws off that idea of the character. So authors need to be consistent with their character descriptions. But I don't think that it's necessary that authors describe every character and every trait of every character. I mean, I think that there is some power in the ambiguity that authors use. I think that's the power of literature, really. That's one thing that books have over movies, TV, and even plays and stuff, is that readers can really fill in the gaps, and that makes the story all the more strong because readers can kind of make it their own. They visualize everything in their own way, and without the author kind of hammering the details over their head. And I think if you take that away, then you kind of lose the magic of reading, really. So that was really just my thought on this. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. I think that this is really kind of a non-issue because Hermione was not described as white or black. She can be whatever. I mean, as long as it fits that description of frizzy hair and very smart, then I mean I think we're all good as far as whatever she's portrayed as. Now, if you if you have a white Hermione in the films, that's fine. You can't have. I think as far as the film series is concerned, you have to have some consistency with the character. So if she's going to be white in the first movie, she's going to have to be white through the next 8 movies, and that's cool with me. I love the movies, and I loved her character, but there has to be some consistency as far as that is concerned. It doesn't necessarily mean that once you go to a play or once you go to some other kind of medium that she has to be the same thing. Just because she was a little bit more of an ambiguous character. Now, one thing that I will say is that with your main characters, it may have been better if the main characters were more explicitly described. Because let's say as a writer, you're writing something and, the best thing in the world happens and it gets as big as Harry Potter. You would want to have some control over how your main characters were portrayed. So you can't really leave ambiguity for like the main characters there. I mean, like Harry and Ron and Hermione. I think maybe those 3 should have been described explicitly. Everybody else can kind of be a little bit more ambiguous. I mean, I think you could have dodged, I think J.K. Rowling could have dodged an issue, but it's not really her issue. I mean, I don't know, it's not really that big of an issue anyway. But I'm just saying, as a writer, it might be better to have your main characters to be explicitly described. But yeah, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share it, give me a comment below, let me know what you feel about this issue. A lot of people are talking about it, and I'd like to see what your thoughts about it are. So let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.